So you want a coupe and a convertible, and you only have $50,000 to $80,000 to spend? Sounds like you need to consider the Mercedes-Benz SLC's plan for your life.
Formerly known as the SLK, the SLC is a rear-wheel drive, two-seat convertible that comes in two forms: the SLC43, featuring a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, and the racier AMG SLC43, with its bi-turbo 3-liter V6. Yes, the old SLK could be had with a 5.5-liter V8, but the V6 is really good.
Power comes out quickly, and there's plenty of it. Mash the throttle from a standstill, and the SLC43 goes from 0 to 60 in about 4.6 seconds, or it'll also spin the tires and freak out adjacent drivers. Shining the best light on the engine is a 9-speed automatic transmission that's shared with the base 4-cylinder. When you request more speed, the transmission shifts with staggering immediacy. Even better, you can control it with these paddle shifters that operate with a really satisfying mechanical feel. Yeah.
On a side note, the gear shifter itself is hilariously small. If you ever make a Power Wheels version of the SLC, this part will carry right over.
The SLC43 has a notable power advantage over its 4-cylinder sibling, but it also rides on a much stiffer suspension, and that stiffness, while enhancing its dynamic abilities, also enhances the imperfections of the road.
If you plan to drive your Mercedes through corners at a modest pace, and based on largely accurate stereotypes you probably will, the SLC300 is probably the better choice. If choosing the weaker SLC feels wrong, just know that the base 4-cylinder is a fine engine, offering a perfectly zippy 0 to 60 time under 6 seconds.
The SLC is fun to drive and steers with joyful urgency, but it's also several hundred pounds heavier than, let's say, the Porsche 718 Boxster. If you're the kind of driver who lives their life in the corners, maybe defer to Team Porsche. If you really dig stable high-speed cruising, maybe you should rock the beefy SLC.
Contributing to the SLC's heft is its retractable hardtop. A cloth top would have been lighter, but this bad boy has advantages where vehicle security and interior noise are concerned. Dropping the top takes 20 seconds and can be performed at speeds up to 25 miles per hour, whereas raising the top can take place at speeds up to 0 miles per hour. Of course, with the top lowered, the 10.1 cubic foot trunk's capacity drops by nearly half, and whatever you're loading has to fit through here. But fewer sacks of farm-raised chicken and organic quinoa is a small price to pay for a delightful open-air experience.
With the top down, air flows smoothly around the cabin, especially if you put the windows up. But more importantly, your view out is not penned in by the header. It feels open and connected to the world outside, and isn't that the point of a convertible? I will answer my question. Yes, that is the point of a convertible.
Even with the top up, you can still enjoy the scenery above. A $2,500 electrochromic roof panel, unfortunately dubbed Magic Sky Control, transforms from deeply tinted to mostly clear with the push of a button. It's a cool trick guaranteed to modestly impress whoever occupies the passenger seat.
Also impressing that lucky passenger is a cabin that's very hard to criticize. But I will try. The climate control knobs feel plasticky and cheap, which is a shame because A, you're going to touch them all the time, and B, they're surrounded by a very well-appointed interior. I rarely use the word classy without a ton of irony, but in this case, it definitely applies.
For most humans, the interior is right-sized, but if you're particularly tall, double-check the headspace. For all of us who do fit, well-contoured seats help ensure long-haul comfort, while decent-sized storage cubbies and nooks impart the cabin with a dose of practicality. In roughly $49,000 base guise, the GLC 300 comes with 8-way power seats, a backup camera, a standard glass panel roof, and an automatic engine start-stop system that helps save fuel and works well enough that I don't hate it. And while we're on the subject, here are the fuel economy figures, just in case you care. Oddly, to get keyless access with push-button start, a standard feature on a $23,000 Buick Encore, you have to spend thousands of dollars on an option package that also adds Harman Kardon surround sound, heated seats,
and air scarf, a feature that blasts your neck region with toasty air on blustery days. That sounded sarcastic, but it really is a lovely feature.
Fling even more money at the option boxes, and you can enjoy blind spot warning, adaptive LED headlamps, navigation with Apple CarPlay, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and an adaptive suspension that's only offered on the SLC300. Without restraints, you can easily add 10 grand to the cost of your SLC. The same holds true for the AMG SLC43, whose price starts closer to $61,000. Speaking of the SLC43, it is the lone recipient of a $2,800 AMG handling package that adds a performance steering wheel, red brake calipers, and, the muse to amateur racers everywhere, a limited slip differential. Tempting alternatives like the BMW Z4 and Audi TT Roadster each start within a few $1,000s of the SLC 300's base price, while the brilliant handling and utterly sexy Porsche 718 Boxster kicks things off at a rich $57,000. Given the emotions that swirl around fancy 2-seat drop tops, you might find maximum satisfaction away from Planet Benz.
But if you find yourself drawn to the SLC, there's no reason to hide your love. It's competitively priced, it's fun and attractive, especially with the top down, the interior is fantastic, and it should hold its value reasonably well. If you want an SLC, buy an SLC. Who knows, maybe your life could become as thrilling as our closing montage. Cue the montage.